What's going on today, YouTubers? Welcome to another edition of Walking Reviews. It is a shitty day out, but I have been putting this review off. So I figured get it over with. Not that it's a chore or anything, but with the holidays and everything, been busy, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, you don't give a shit about that. This is what you care about. This is the new Kizer Degnan Guru Flipper. It is the newest collaboration piece from Kizer Cutlery, and obviously the designer is Degnan. This is actually the first experience I've had with a Degnan knife. I'm not familiar with his customs, I guess I would assume custom knives. So yeah, anyways, specs. We have a 3-inch blade of CPM S35VN. The cutting edge is obviously not quite 3 inches. We're looking at probably 2 3/4, because it does have this forward finger groove cut out. It is like a sheep's foot / drop point style of blade with a decently high hollow grind there. It's not the most dramatic hollow grind. If I can show you, it's not the most dramatic grind, which leaves it fairly thick behind the edge, and that's why even from the factory you can see that the bevel there is pretty big. The secondary bevel there is pretty big, because of how thick the blade stock is, and how shallow the grind is, which leaves it fairly thick behind the edge, and for my purposes not the most useful blade ever. Not bad, I mean certainly not bad at all if you have more heavy duty stuff, or if you prefer a thicker blade, then that's you know, something that you might like. But for me, I definitely prefer a much thinner knife behind the edge. You can see we have the Kizer logo, S35VN. There's the model number designation, and then the name of the knife and the knife designer. So even though they did end up putting a lot on the blade, they kept it fairly sterile for most of it. You know, they did squeeze obviously the maker's name on there, but they kept it on the spine of the blade, so you're not looking at a huge billboard, which is nice. Handles, we have titanium handles with a very dark sort of media blast finish. Obviously frame lock, and this knife is a flipper. It does run on caged ceramic bearings with a ceramic detent. And decorative Kizer pivot. You can see they've done quite a bit of milling into the handle there on the presentation side. I'm assuming that was both a design choice and to lighten the weight a bit. This is not, for the size, I wouldn't say this is a lightweight knife. We're at 4 ounces, and an overall length of, I guess, 7 1/4 inches, because the blade is 3 inches and the handles are just under 4 1/2 by my tape. We do have a lock bar insert, which seems to be kind of standard on all of Kizer's titanium flippers these days, and an over travel, which you can see right there. What else? Decent jimping on the flipper tab. Ergonomically, a very comfortable knife, even without using the forward finger groove there. the holes actually give your finger something to purchase onto, so good for tactility, even in wet conditions like this. And the finish is a little bit on the rougher side, which is also good for gripping. Using that forward finger groove, it's even more comfortable. And you can see I've not the biggest hands, but I have large hands, and they're got plenty of room on the handle here. This also gives you plenty of control over the blade if you need that during use. No jimping up top, but with the forward finger groove you really don't need it. Let's see, let's get into the good and the bad now. So the flipping action is pretty good. Not the smoothest in the world, but they've got a fairly firm detent, so the blade has no problem flipping out. As far as closing goes, you can see here, not the smoothest knife that you've seen on this channel, but you know, if that's not a huge issue for you, then you know, it is what it is. Not every knife is going to be that, you know, drop closed type smooth, and that's both a design choice in my opinion, and also has to do with how the knife is made. So we do have a 3D milled pocket clip, which is it's very good for going in and out of the pocket. I just wish it carried a little bit better. You can see there's probably, I don't know, a little over 1/4 of an inch that sticks up. Blade to handle ratio isn't all that great on this one either. So if you want a knife that packs a lot of blade for the least amount of handle you can get, this is definitely not a winner in that category, because the handles do approach, like I said, 4.5 inches, and the blade is just 3. So there are definitely better blade to handle ratios out there. I mean, overall, this is a well-made knife. You can kind of expect that from Kizer, that they're going to make the knife about as well as they can. But I don't know that, as far as design-wise, if you're strictly looking for utility in your knife, I mean, just 100% utility, that's all that matters, then I definitely understand most of the design choices here. It's not a bad looking knife at all. You can see there. So real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the price. For I believe this goes for street about $190. I believe I paid for it. And I don't even know, for $190, I think even Kizer themselves have better knives. I think I showed the Mini Intrepid. I think that was around the same price. The Kizer Ursa Minor has a stellar reputation, and that's about the same price, if not a little cheaper. Yeah, so I guess if you really dig the look, and it is a pretty cool looking knife. You can tell it's got a lot of work done, you know, to the handles and stuff. If you really dig the look of the knife, and you really want something a little bit beefier, a beefy frame lock flipper, then I think, you know, you probably have a decent deal on your hands here. But if you just, you know, you're looking at for another titanium frame lock flipper, I don't know that anything on this knife makes it stand out to the point where I would say this is a must-have. Even with all the bells and whistles, the ceramic detent, the ceramic bearings, all that stuff, I've definitely handled smoother flippers out of Kizer's factories. So I'm not sure if that was because of the design of the knife or what, but yeah, I'd say strictly utility wise, not a bad knife, and probably not a bad purchase. Although if you're talking strictly utility, you don't have to spend anywhere near $180 to get a knife, you know, that'll suit your needs. But you know, if you like the materials, titanium and CPMS 35VN, then yeah, then you're looking at a great price. So that was my convoluted way of saying that it's a nice knife. It's definitely not Kizer's best. I don't know this maker, so maybe it was just a bad translation or whatever, but yeah. There's also I also bought the non-flipper version of this knife. There's one with just the thumb stud, and that was actually smoother than this one. I almost put that one on the channel instead of the flipper, but because of how popular I think most people will probably go for the flipper. You know, there's people out there who definitely still prefer thumb studs, and I definitely enjoy a thumb stud knife, but I think more frequently I lean towards flippers. So that was my reasoning behind putting this one, reviewing this one instead of the thumb stud knife. If you really want me to review the thumb stud knife, I mean, it's going to be almost the same, except obviously with the thumb stud. That one runs on bearings as well. I mean, it's pretty much the exact same knife, but minus the flipper with a thumb stud. So, and that one turned out a little bit smoother than this one. So maybe, I guess it is very possible that this one maybe just came from the factory a little less smooth than most of them are. But I can't guarantee that 100% at all. So that would be on, you know, something if you want to risk it and buy this knife, you know, go for it. Or if you're going to get it anyway and you were just looking for validation on your purchase, you know, that's up to you. But yeah, so a fairly decent knife from Kizer, well made for sure, but they have better stuff for less money. So I would give this one a pass, unless, like I said, you really have fallen in love with the design or you were going to get it anyway. Sure, go ahead. Alright guys, that's it for this review. My hands are freezing and everything's getting wet. So I am about finished with the Holiday Part 2 giveaway, and then I have to do the redraw on the Holiday Part 1 giveaway because unfortunately the guy was away for the holidays and he didn't realize he had won. And I did give a 48-hour deadline for contacting me. So as much as I'd love to let the original winner have the knife from the Holiday Part 1 giveaway, unfortunately I did say that was a rule, 48 hours, and I can't bend that. So alright guys, take it easy and I will catch you on the next video.